Imagine waking up and standing at the bedside with confidence, feet flat on the floor, knees steady, no stabbing calf pain, no sudden jolt that wakes you in the middle of the night. Picture making it down the stairs to kiss a grandchild hello, carry a bag of groceries up the driveway, or join a neighbor for a short walk without that nagging worry about cramps or a wobble. Now picture the other side, a sharp cramp that stops you cold, tingling that turns your toes numb, or a leg that feels tired after just a few steps. For many older adults, that second scene is all too familiar. It's easy to write these changes off as just getting older, but there's a missing link we rarely check for, and today we're revealing the essential vitamin that may be part of the problem, vitamin B6. Here at Senior Vital Health, we've seen how a small nutrient gap can ripple through nerves, muscles, and recovery. Before we go any further, if you care about someone over 60, hit like and subscribe. We'll keep sharing practical steps you can try this week. Now, let's talk about why a tiny vitamin like B6 deserves so much attention. Falls are one of the biggest threats to independence as we age. They can come from a misstep, a momentary loss of strength, or a sudden cramp that sends someone off balance. Your body is built like a chain, and when one link is weaker than the rest, balance and mobility suffer. Vitamin B6, also called pyridoxine, is one of those links. It's involved in several basic jobs your body does to keep your legs working smoothly, helping convert food into usable energy, supporting the repair and recovery of muscle tissue, and keeping nerves firing correctly by helping produce the chemicals, neurotransmitters, that coordinate movement. When B6 levels are low, those systems slow down or misfire. The result can be early fatigue during walks, longer soreness after activity, numbness or tingling in the feet, and even slower recovery after a fall or strain. Let's be clear, low B6 is not the only cause of leg cramps or weakness, but it's often overlooked because symptoms look a lot like normal aging, and many seniors aren't tested for it unless there's a major neurological problem. That's why we call it essential, not because it's the only thing that matters, but because restoring it is a practical, often missed step that can help a lot of people regain steadier legs. What does low B6 feel like? You might notice that a short walk tires you out sooner than it used to, or your calves feel tight the next day after gardening. You might wake at night with a cramp that feels like someone grabbed the back of your leg. You might have pins and needles, strange tingling, or a mild numbness in your toes. Recovery from an afternoon of activity might take longer than it used to. If these sound familiar, a nutrient check could be a useful next step. Food is the safest place to start. B6 is abundant in common foods we can add into an everyday meal. Roast chicken or turkey, salmon at dinner, a baked potato as a side, a banana with your cereal for breakfast, or a chickpea salad at lunchtime. These are all practical, senior-friendly choices that bring B6 to the plate. For many people, focusing on these foods will cover basic needs. That said, absorption can change with age, and some medications or conditions make it harder to maintain adequate levels, which is why a conversation with your provider is important. If supplements are needed, many seniors find a modest daily amount helpful. A typical conservative example for many older adults is around 1.5 to 2 milligrams of vitamin B6 per day. We emphasize typical and conservative because individual needs vary, and high doses over time can cause problems. Very high B6 doses have been linked to nerve damage in some studies, so do not start high-dose supplements without medical supervision. If you suspect low B6, ask your clinician about a simple blood test and whether a modest supplement is appropriate for you. Now, while B6 is our central focus, legs don't work on B6 alone. There are 6 other nutrients that play crucial supporting roles in muscle function, nerve health, bone stability, and balance. Think of them as the rest of the orchestra. When the lead instrument is back in tune, the others still need to be in tune too. Vitamin D matters for more than just bones. It helps muscle activation and is linked with balance. Low vitamin D is very common in older adults, especially in those who spend less time outdoors or live in northern climates. For many seniors, a common guideline is 800 to 2,000 IU per day, depending on blood levels and medical advice. Food sources include fatty fish like salmon, fortified dairy or plant milks, and some mushrooms. Because low vitamin D is so widespread, clinicians often check a 25-hydroxy vitamin D blood level and recommend a tailored dose rather than guessing. Calcium is the structural support for bones and plays a role in muscle contraction. For adults over 60, common guidance points toward roughly 1,200 milligrams of calcium daily from diet and supplements combined when needed. Dairy products, leafy greens, and fortified foods are practical sources. Calcium's effectiveness is linked with vitamin D. They work together, so it's wise to consider both when planning diet or supplements. Vitamin B12 helps maintain the insulating sheath around nerves, and that insulation is important for clear, fast nerve signals that let your legs move smoothly. B12 absorption declines with age, and certain medications like metformin or long-term acid blockers can make it harder to absorb from food. B12 is found mainly in animal products, meat, fish, dairy, and eggs. But if absorption is reduced, oral supplements or, in some cases, clinician-administered injections can be useful. Many seniors are told to check their B12 level on routine blood work. It's a simple test and worth discussing with your doctor. Magnesium is a natural muscle relaxer. It helps muscles recover and can reduce nighttime cramps for many people. Foods rich in magnesium include nuts, seeds, whole grains, leafy greens, and legumes. As a general example, supplemental ranges commonly used by adults fall in the 200 to 400 milligrams per day range, but this should be individualized. If you take certain diuretics or other medications, magnesium levels may be affected, so check with your clinician before starting a supplement. Potassium helps with cellular hydration and the mechanics of muscle contraction. It's abundant in fruits and vegetables such as bananas, potatoes, beans, tomatoes, and leafy greens. A diet rich in potassium supports steady muscle function and can be an easy food-first change. However, potassium supplements and high-potassium diets require caution if you have kidney disease or if you take medications such as certain diuretics or ACE inhibitors, because high potassium can be dangerous in those situations. That's why a basic metabolic panel, a common blood test your clinician can order, is useful to check potassium and kidney function before making large changes. Vitamin K might not be the first thing you think of for leg health, but it helps direct calcium into bones rather than soft tissues. There are two common forms, K1, found in leafy greens like spinach and kale, and K2, often in fermented foods and some animal products. For people on blood thinners such as warfarin, vitamin K intake is something to manage carefully. Sudden changes in vitamin K can affect medication response. If you take anticoagulants, talk to your prescriber before increasing vitamin K-rich foods or adding supplements. All of these nutrients interact with medications and health conditions. Some commonly used medicines can deplete or interfere with nutrient absorption. Diuretics can lower potassium and magnesium. Metformin can reduce B12. Long-term antacids and proton pump inhibitors can affect B12 and magnesium. Certain anticonvulsants and isoniazid can lower B6. Because of that, one of the best steps you can take this week is to review your medication list with your doctor or pharmacist and ask whether any of them could be affecting nutrient levels that matter for your legs. Here's a practical, easy action plan you can use right away. First, track what you eat for the next 3 days and see how many of the foods we mentioned appear in your meals. Chicken, fish, potatoes, bananas, nuts, leafy greens, beans, and dairy or fortified milks. Second, schedule blood work with your clinician and ask for targeted tests. Vitamin D, 25-hydroxyvitamin D, vitamin B12, basic metabolic panel, which includes potassium and kidney function, and a discussion about B6 testing if symptoms point that way. Third, review your medications with a clinician or pharmacist to identify any that could deplete these nutrients. Fourth, if diet alone isn't covering it, ask whether a conservative supplement might be helpful. Start with modest doses and medical supervision rather than high-dose self-treatment. To make this concrete, imagine a typical day that brings several of these nutrients into balance. For breakfast, have a bowl of fortified cereal with milk and a sliced banana. That gives B6 from banana, B12 and calcium from milk, and possibly fortified vitamin D. For a mid-morning snack, reach for a small handful of almonds or a yogurt with fruit for magnesium and calcium. Lunch could be a chickpea salad with spinach and a piece of grilled salmon for B6, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin D. In the afternoon, a baked potato with a little olive oil is a simple source of potassium and B6. Dinner might be a roast turkey sandwich on whole grain bread with a side of steamed broccoli or kale, adding B6, calcium, and vitamin K. Small, consistent choices like these add up. Safety matters. Never begin high-dose supplements without a clinician's guidance. Vitamin K interacts with blood thinners like warfarin. Changes in your vitamin K intake can affect how these medications work. Potassium supplements and high potassium diets can be risky for people with kidney disease or those taking certain blood pressure medications. Check your kidney function and medication list first. Magnesium supplements can interact with some antibiotics and may need dose adjustments with kidney problems. And with vitamin B6, while a modest supplement like the example range we gave may help many seniors, very high doses taken for long periods have been associated with nerve problems in rare cases. That's why we recommend testing and medical supervision rather than guessing. If you're wondering how to bring this into a conversation with your clinician, a simple script can help. I've been having leg cramps, tingling, weakness. Could we check my vitamin D, B12, and potassium? And is there a reason to check vitamin B6? Also, could my medications be affecting these levels? That opens a practical, non-confrontational discussion and helps your clinician tailor testing and any supplements to your specific needs. We know it can feel discouraging when leg problems limit the things you love to do. The good news is that the body often responds when we close nutrient gaps. Correcting a small deficiency can reduce cramps, speed recovery, and give you more confidence on your feet. It's not a guaranteed fix. Nothing replaces good medical care, physical therapy, or safe home practices, but it's a tangible, food-first step that many seniors and caregivers find empowering. Before we close, remember these practical reminders. Start with food, get targeted blood tests, review medications that may deplete nutrients, and if supplements are considered, choose modest, medically supervised doses. For vitamin B6 in particular, look at diet first and discuss a general supplement range like 5 to 2 milligrams per day with your doctor if testing suggests a need. For the supporting nutrients, consider vitamin D checks and possible supplementation in the 800 to 2000 IU per day range, as advised by your clinician. Aim for about 1200 milligrams of calcium daily through diet and supplements if needed. Discuss B12 testing and replacement options if absorption is a concern. Consider magnesium in the 200 to 400 milligram under supervision for cramp relief. Focus on potassium-rich foods unless kidney issues or medications advise otherwise, and manage vitamin K intake carefully if you use blood thinners. We'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from, and how old are you? Have you or a loved one tried adjusting diet or supplements for leg cramps? Share your experience in the comments so our community can learn together. If this video helped, please subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit. A small change could help someone walk more confidently tomorrow. Thank you for joining us today. Take one small step this week. Check your pantry, check your meds, and check in with your clinician about a few simple tests. Your legs and your independence deserve that attention.